look around and see that the present is ours to build, so that we can actually have something for tomorrow. What are our tools? When we're going to build something, you gotta have tools. So what are the tools? The first thing is you have to have a hope. And hope is not something, it's not just optimism. It's just not like an idea of idealism that's not based upon anything. When you're talking about Muslims and you're talking about hope, you're talking about yaqeen. And yaqeen means that you have a belief despite the apparent reality. Despite what it might look like, we recognize that there is something much greater going on behind the scenes. We recognize that I have an expectation of success that is given to me from a promise from the Lord Most High. I recognize that it's Allah who's in control and my hope is in Him. Yaqeen and hope is not just in the people, but yaqeen and hope is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who puts the light in the hearts of people to do the work that they're doing, who inspires them with the passion and the insight and the blueprint to get up and face devastation and say, not today. Today will be a better day than yesterday. The next thing is, the next tool in our toolbox is we have to have love. Anybody who has children, you know, we don't like to admit it, but we know the child that's easiest, that's sweet, that's kind, the one that'll bring you breakfast in the morning, even if it's burnt toast. You know, the child that does everything right, the child that's always obedient. It's easy to love that child. That's the child you know, the one that's loving and you want to cuddle up to. And then you have another one that gives you difficulty, that gives you heartache, that causes you to run in the middle of the night and fall on your face in sujood. The one that my mom would say, you make my knees turn dark from the amount of times I'm falling on my knees praying for you. You have that child that's Malcolm Little. You have that child that is sometimes a thief. The child that gets into, seems that it's not just that they find trouble, but trouble always seems to find them. You have that child that seems to be disturbed. They seem to always be with the wrong crowd. You have that child that just, you can never find them to be obedient. You're always struggling with them. But it's that child that doesn't seem to have what they need, or it seems that something inside of them is broken. It's actually that child that you've got to love. It's that child you've got to look in the face and say, I don't see you with the eye of criticism. I see you with the eye of mercy. I see you with the eye of greatness that Allah created you with. That is the child that you spend energy with, time with, that you place investment with. A lot of our children, we find them, they've gotten into trouble. They've started to, hang with the wrong crowd, or they started smoking weed, or some of them have got arrested, and we say, I don't know, maybe this is the child that's going to be like the child of Prophet Noah, alayhi salam. But I want us to have the kind of love that says, I will invest in you because I see the greatness in you. So that Malcolm Little can become Malcolm X, can become Malcolm X, can become ALLA.H Malik Shabazz. So the next one is we have to have courage. And courage is something that requires a deep inner vision. You have to look in the face of devastation and say, I might not be stronger than you. I might not have as much money as you, the media machine, or I might not have as many friends as you. I might not have the status or the influence you have, but what I have is Allah, and with Allah I am the majority. That's the kind of courage you have to have. You have to have courage, and you've got to be bold with your courage. You've got to be like Hajar, radiallahu ta'ala anha. You've got to be like our beloved mother Hajar, that even though it looked like she's standing in a barren land, and it looks like everyone has left her, her husband is leaving her, and it's just her and her weak feminine self with the baby, she says, if Allah has ordered this for me, then I know Allah will take care of me. Hasbi Allah, that Allah is sufficient for me. And as a result of her stance of yaqeen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala built the holiest city around her. That we have prophets walking in her footsteps. You cannot complete your deen unless you walk in the footsteps of our beloved mother Hajar. You've got to have courage. The next thing is you have to have vision. You have to have the kind of vision that is not just here. As our Dr. Sherman Jackson would tell us, it's not just this, this horizontal vision, where I'm only seeing that which is in front of me, and then I become bombarded with the images of carnage and the images of violence and the images of grief. You've got to look up and recognize, wait a minute. So it's, subhanallah, as Allah Ta'ala remind us in Quran al-Kareem bil-ma'ana, that you do not say about the shuhada that they are dead, for surely they are alive with their Lord. We have to have the kind of vision that says, whoa, wait a minute, Ya Allah. Allah is calling us to account of that which we have indulged in. Allah is calling us to account about our deeper purpose, our deeper meaning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling us to account for the justice that He told us to establish. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you've gotten comfortable in your beds. You've gotten comfortable in your air-conditioned homes. You've gotten comfortable in your suburbia. You've gotten comfortable that the wars that are happening, that the Muslims are dying in certain other third world countries, that the Muslims are dying far away from me, and we've gotten comfortable and complacent. And Allah said, today you're going to wake up on this Jummah in Rajab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you've been comfortable for too long. You've been carrying the flag of ALLA.H, Malik Shabazz and Muhammad Ali and Umar ibn Khattab for too long. You've been talking about Rahmatul Alameen sallallahu alayhi wasallam. You've been talking about him and not being him for too long. What does it mean to be, for the Muslims have a responsibility to be Rahmatul Alameen like the Prophet ﷺ? What is it to be merciful if you don't benefit the people? What is it for us to pray 5 times a day and then say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, and there's no more peace to our right and no more peace to our left than when we came in there? Tell me, where's the peace in that? MashaAllah, I want you to know there was a poll that was taken by the Pew Research Society and as well as ISPU with Dr. Delia Mujahid. And in the list of polls, it actually said that Muslim Americans are about 25% more educated than their other American neighbors. That they actually earn about 30 to 40% on average more than their American counterpart neighbors. So it's not lack of education. It's not that we have lack of resources. It's not like we don't have, if you go to any hospital, any cardiologist, any kind of doctor you ever can think of, you find them in the Muslim community. We have lots of doctors. We have lots of engineers. We have those who have the money. We have those who have the resources. But what are we building with it? What are we building with it? Imam Khalid reminded us earlier about the buildings we're building with the beautiful chandeliers. But are we investing in people? Are we investing in the hard work people? Are we investing, yes, in our young people who are not only the future, they are the present? Are we investing in communities that, as James Baldwin said, that you clip their wings and then you blame them for not flying as high as you do? Are we investing back in those communities? Are we helping to build better relationships with them? So we have to break ground. And the breaking ground has to be the hardness around our hearts. And then we have to establish a strong foundation. And our strong foundation has to be, we have to go back to our traditions. Yes, we have to look at the Quran and the example of the Prophet ﷺ, but when we're looking and investigating and interrogating our traditions, we have to make sure that we do not get stuck there. We have to look at what is the example and what is the precedent so that we bring that knowledge and that understanding into our circumstance. The beloved Messenger of Allah, ﷺ, when he set us an example, he did not mean for us to stay back in 10th century Arabia. He meant for us to take it and to run with it into the future. That's why he is the messenger to the end of time. That's why the Quran is a message to the end of time. Take it with you. It is not a tale of the ancients. But we have to know it. Let me be very clear. We have to know it. We cannot replace other philosophies, other isms with our deen. We cannot say our deen, we cannot hear what I'm saying. Social justice is a component of our deen. Social justice is not our deen. It is a means to a greater end. And we have to recognize that. We have to recognize so that we begin to develop the language and the theoretical frameworks so that we begin to develop institutions and academia around our philosophy and understanding. The faith communities in America are struggling to have a voice. They are afraid to speak out. They are afraid to acknowledge that they actually are people who believe in God. And the Muslims, we should never be afraid to say we believe in God. And to bring our values with you. Bring your values with you to the schoolhouse. Bring your values with you to the courthouse. Bring your values with you to the protest. Bring your values with you when you're at the interfaith event. Bring your values with you wherever you may be. We say, I represent myself as a Muslim, and my deen is not backward. My deen is present and relevant and has the answers and the solutions to take us into the future. Then when we begin to build, we bring the contractors come together and say, okay, we need the plumbers, we need the electricians, we need the people who do drywall, we need the people who do the flooring, we need all the people. So I don't want you to think, oh, I need to be a religious scholar. Oh, I need to be a public speaker. Oh, I need to be a leader in this way. Actually, no. We need all of the doctors, the engineers, the business owners. We need the activists. We need the social justice. We need those who are building seminaries. We need the philosophy majors, the psychology majors. We need all the hands on deck in order to build this future. We need all hands on deck. And we need the artists. We need the artists. We need those who are going to tell the story, those who are going to paint the picture, those who are going to sing the song, those who are going to be the music of the movement, that which will carry on the tradition to our children. Just to tell you a quick story, we were in the car the other day with my daughter, my 3-year-old, and we were playing Native Dean. And as we're playing Native Dean, she says, Mama, that's the one we went to Canada, and Canada, they were on stage. That's them. Right? What was so significant about that moment for me is that my 3-year-old African-American daughter, growing up as a Muslim, actually has role models that she can look up to. There's actually culture that she can benefit from. That's her own culture, and she can identify people who look like her and look up to them. We're doing great work, Muslims, we are. But we do have a long way to go. And so I just want to close out with this. As we're bringing all those to the table in order to build this great future, leave no one out. How are you going to not leave them out? You've got to sit down and listen. Not sit down and talk to them. Sit down and listen to them. Celebrate with them. Cry with them. Honor their stories. Hear them out. And then, inshallah, we can begin to come together. May Allah, Ya Allah, we ask you by your infinite mercy that you bless our children to be amongst the Salihin. Ya Rabbi, we ask that you give our children to be firm upon Sirat al-Mustaqim. Ya Rabbi, increase us in iman and in knowledge and in wisdom. Ya Rabbi, we ask you by your infinite mercy that you protect us from our enemies, Ya Allah. Ya Rabbi, we ask that you reach deep into their chest and that you turn their hearts, Ya Rabbi, to be benevolent. Ya Rabbi, turn their hearts to be merciful. Ya Rabbi, we ask you by your infinite mercy that you bless our shuhada. Ya Rabbi, bless those who have died in your cause. Ya Rabbi, grant them your Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la. Bless us and our children to not be afraid, Ya Rabbi, in the face of terrorism. Ya Rabbi, we ask you that you give us the strength to stand up for justice. Ya Rabbi, make us amongst people who are firm in faith. Ya Rabbi, we ask you by your mercy that you fill our hearts with love for what you love. Ya Rabbi, mold and shape us into servants with whom you are well pleased. And make us amongst those who are beneficial to the people, beneficial to society. Ya Rabbi, and make us amongst those who speak the truth, who act the truth, and who are the truth. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun ala mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum.